May I request Most Venerable Anil Sakya to share his views? Please, sir.
Namo Buddhaya. Salam alaikum. I am very honored to be here with you. Your Excellencies, Muhammad has been very close friends, has been known for quite a long. And I'm glad to see that all the Excellencies here, all the ministers here, and especially Buddhist brothers and sisters, and of course, all distinguished guests as brothers and sisters and ladies and gentlemen. I guess we have a little bit of miscommunication between the organizing committee here and the consular or the embassy in Thailand, I guess. Because based on our communications, I was asked to give some remark on the main theme, which is a cultural diplomacy, reviving Gandhara and Buddhist heritage in Pakistan. But when I see this booklet, I am under the sessions called Pathways to Peace. But anyway, I guess that I'm not going to blow up your piece anyway, whatever the topic all about. Within this very short kind of a 15 minutes, which the honorable moderator has given me, I think there's a few things I want to clear it out with this very important topic, and especially the way we are organizing this symposium or international conference. First of all, I would say that the government of Pakistan and people of Pakistan, I have to salute you, because this is a great kind of a coming out as an Islamic country organizing a pure Buddhist conference. And this is something which shows that you are very brave. I really salute you. Not only that, looking at the logo, how wide, how open you are. Logo itself, there's a G, Gandhara, and, you have a not single living monk here in Pakistan, but at least the shadow of the monk is there. So it means that you are welcoming Buddhist monks from your heart to overlook what you got as a Pakistani heritage or Gandhara civilization. In fact, we are over-focused on the Gandhara, I think. When we look at the Gandhara, what we see? What see the images, beautiful sculptures, as Venerable said it. But for me, what I see, I want all of us to see beyond that image. Gandhara is something new compared to what you got here as a civilization in Pakistan. If you go back to the time of the Buddha, even prior to the Buddha, we all know that we have a Takasila. We have so many other places. All those places are what importance of those places are in this world. Don't forget that you got the greatest inspiration and seed of knowledge, sort of one of the ancient seed of knowledge you got it here in Pakistan. Takasila was, before the time of the Buddha, was a seed of knowledge. Comparing to these days, it is a Cambridge, Oxford, or Harvard, where you even have a very, very developed medical education here. If you know, the Buddha's physician, Jivaka Komara Bhattacharya, he was educated in Takasila, who, by the text, was even able to make operation of the human brain at the time. It means that this is the place. Once you are very, very advanced to this modern world. So I want to remind that with this symposium that you should be very proud of not Gandhara alone, but who you are as the seed of the world knowledge, the Takasila. Having said that, the topic, the main theme we have given here is the cultural diplomacy, reviving Gandhara civilization and Buddhist heritage in Pakistan. Again, as an academic, don't mind me saying this. I would say that this is trying to have a sort of some kind of expectation and overreaching some kind of the reality of what we got it here. As I just said it, that this is a very odd, this is a very, very symbolic in terms of this world that a Muslim is hosting the Buddhist conference. So in one way you are opening, but in a cynical way, if you are looking at a very cynical way, it just reminds me of the book called Orientalism by Edward Said. So it is like you are trying to come out so much. You are forcing yourself, saying that we got a Buddhist thing. We are the Buddhists, or we have this something is Buddhist. I think that is too much. Just like any Orientals and any Westerners, when they come to our Asian country, and they become Asian more than the Asian themselves. So I see this as we are trying to be a Buddhist, whatever the Buddhist it ways, but we are trying to be a Buddhist more than the Buddhists themselves. What I see, all the images, the beautiful structures, the beautiful Buddhas, of course, it touches my heart. I am from the Sakya family, from Nepal, which means that I have one way, we believe that we have some descendant lineage with the Buddha himself. So in order to see my ancestor in such a way, it makes me feel very, very, just coming back to my home. In Nepal, in Thailand, or in India, I don't see that kind of Buddha. You see that all the Buddha there is at a later development. But this is we can say that original Buddha we have seen in this world. So if I want to see what is my ancestor's face look like, I have to come in here to see what its Buddha's looks like really. I don't know whether he was really like that or as an ancestor look like me. I don't know. But the whole idea of this cultural diplomacy, what you are given, I think very important, is very timely. Because this is a time after we are just recovering from the COVID-19. And then we have seen that with the COVID-19, the damage it made in this world is tremendous. The COVID-19, it was not damaging only our kind of a hygiene or kind of a health issue, but it destroyed us, the relationship, the connectivity between human to human. Suddenly, as the Honorable President had just said in his remark, that this development of technology, this development of whatever is going on, it is what we call it development or destruction of humanity. So we have to think hard. This is a time. This is a time that we are just recovering from the COVID. And then we have resumed a lot of technology, a lot of idea, which was given by the COVID-19. Talking about a development, do you aware that the United Nations SDG or Sustainable Development Goal is in crisis at the moment? It is not something that we are always looking that we have to be sustainable development. Even the word sustainable development, we have to rethink it very hard. Because as far as my communication with the UN, they are saying that now most of all the projects under the United Nations, they are talking about rescuing a sustainable development goal, rescuing SDG. So that's why we have to think what kind of development, what kind of economy we are talking about. So that's why if I am allowed to speak, as a friends, as a kind of world citizens, I would say that in order to think of Gandhara civilization and the Buddhist heritage, it's all right. But I think it is a little bit too much. It is kind of a little bit of, I say that, hypocrite. But why don't we see beyond that? In order to see beyond that, what I need and what I see is that you need to do a little bit of work. First, let me tell about the cultural diplomacy. Do you know that what is cultural diplomacy all about? The cultural diplomacy is something, what we call a soft power these days. And the word soft power, we are very familiar with the word soft power. But the soft power at the moment, which was just coined around 1990s. And the whole idea of a cultural diplomacy, again, it was something around 19th centuries, around 1870 and so and so. But do you ever realize that your heritage, your civilizations, what you got it in Pakistan, unfortunately, it is in the ruins, but that is an outcome of very cultural diplomacy King Asoka started. This is the seed of cultural diplomacy. If you go back to the history of Buddhism, Asoka was someone who wanted to use hard power in order to expand his reign, his land. But once he found a Buddhist novice, he changed his idea and suddenly he stopped killing, not using all the hard power. He changed to use his soft power with the teaching of nonviolence, with the teaching of peace, with the teaching of. Remind you that although we say that Asoka is a Buddhist devout, but there is no single rock edict which says that Asoka is a Buddhist. He equally worship and accept all religion. He was the symbol of interfaith religious tolerance we ever have in our world. The word cultural diplomacy is that all you got is that when he sent his whatever culture back from where he was in Patna to the west, like in Pakistan, that is what we are getting it, because he was not using his sword to get over and win over your mind, but he used the cultural diplomacy. He used the word cultural diplomacy and message of peace, tolerance, harmony, not Buddhism. Buddhism at the moment is taking some time in a certain way. It's become so institutionalized. It's so organizational. It is kind of a Buddhism as one entity. But the true idea of Buddhism is not that entity. True idea of Buddhism is Buddha is awakened. And this is the place, Gandhara, you can see that once it was awake. The Takasila, once it was awakened. But now it slept. Now, this all you got is that dead archaeology. So I want to appeal you to that. How can you bring that dead archaeology to live archaeology? How can you bring that every stone, tell the story? How can you tell your story to the world? Not as a Buddhist, but as a universal message of peace, intolerance, and harmony. This is we are really lacking of at the moment. Therefore, cultural diplomacy was the first word. Actually, King Asoka used it. He used the word Dhamma Mahamatra or Dhamma Mahamata in Bali. What does it mean? It means that he appointed in his 14th reign of his kingship. After he became a king for 14 years, he came out with this new idea, ever in the world, having the cultural diplomat. First time in the world. If you go back to look at the Asokan Edict number 5, number 6, and so many others, it is very clearly says that he has appointed cultural diplomats or Dhamma Mahamatra, his officials, to overlook at all the situation of culture, religion, belief, and the welfare of the people. Not Buddhism. Buddhism is one of that. And that is how he really spread the idea. He's giving or whatever he was contributing as a Buddhism at the moment, it is not in order to create the Buddhist population, but he was doing all of that in order to give happiness and peace toward the world. And that is a cultural diplomacy of an example we can see. Later on, which you come back to the modern world, it is after the Second World War, the Cold War, we started to really see the importance of cultural diplomacy again, with America having EUA, with the Great Britain have a British Council, and then with all these powerful countries have their own, instead of a mighty military and economic and pay and money. So we are coming the soft power in order to have influence, in order to share, in order to having kind of a P2P or people-to-people understanding, mutual bonding between each other. And that is what we call a sustainable peace. It is not kind of this art and artifacts. So what we have to see, what I see is that, of course, we are talking about economy, but I don't want you to see the money is everything. Economy, in other words, if you know if you really look back at the etymology, of course, it's from the Okinawas. It's a management of household, it's a management of society, it's a management of our family. It's not about money. Money is a part of it only. Therefore, in order to develop this idea, reviving Gandhara and Buddhist civilizations, Buddhist heritage, I want to say is that, first of all, don't focus on the foreign tourism. Because in order to develop the foreign tourism, we got a problem here. We have to fight with this Western media. Are we able to fight with the Western media at the moment? Because whatever happening in the Pakistan, on security, whatever it is actually everywhere in every country. But when they cast this news in the world news, this is the worst. So everyone is very scared to come in. So this is the why, how we have to fight with this Western media. This is one thing. The second thing is that how can we develop these ruins not as a Buddhist heritage, but as a Pakistani heritage? Not as a Buddhist heritage, as a Pakistani heritage. And under the Pakistani heritage, of course, Buddhism will be under Pakistani heritage. So the message of peace, message of harmony, message of intolerance, message of kind of interfaith, which is the Asokan, very clear. King Asoka is very clear with that. How should we really revive those messages from those ruins? Only then we can make it that this is the Minister Ramesh's dream. It is not only his dream. I want to say that it is not your dream, but it is everyone in this world dreams, that how can we bring those, invaluable message into this world. At the moment, we are in chaos with the technology. We are with the chaos, with the power. We are with the chaos with kind of a name of religion. But the message, the ultimate message is here. So how can we bring it? So therefore, I will say that if we really understand that, we have to bring the awareness of importance of those places, what you got it from domestic side, from a nationalistic side first. Make it. How can you make it? This is a domestic place of seat of knowledge, where you can inspire the idea of a peace, where they can inspire idea of a harmony, where you can inspire the idea of awakening, not the Buddha as a religious figure, the Buddha as someone who are intellectual enough to deal with the whatever happening in this world. In order to do that, of course, once you develop the whole local network and able to go and inspire those places, then every one single citizens of Pakistan will love those places. It is not as a Buddhist places, but it is your places where you can bring a lot of good things out of those stones. Buddha means awakening. So you can be awakened with what is going on. And not in the name of the religion, but in the name of what you call its universal message. That is something we have to work it on. We don't care is Islam or Buddhist or Hindu or whatever. Okay, because we have a universal knowledge. Second, which I want to request to the minister here, it's from as a brother, as a friendly suggestions. I would say that when we arrive in Pakistan, for myself, I find that there's no threat. There's a nothing. There's all the friends are all the brothers and sisters are very friendly and so and so. But the pictures, the whole scenario you portray to us is a threatening. So, for example, I once said that when I was here, about 13 years ago, I was heavily given honor of what you call security with all the machines around me. And I said that I'm a man of peace. And I don't want to develop the idea of a peace, with this gun. The peace shouldn't be the gun there at all. So there's a one way, ministers, your excellencies, you have to find a way. Is there any way that you can give the security to all the people who come here discreetly? You don't have to show much. Because everything is military, everything we are going back to the hard power. Now we are talking of the soft power. Soft power is mutual understanding. We can use education, we can do and that. So instead of having this kind of conferences, I would like to suggest that why don't we have a mutual kind of MOU or understanding between different universities? I noticed that in many universities, you have a Gandhara department, Gandhara chair, and so and so. So instead of doing that, having some time to time, you have scholars inviting to speak with the student. Because anyway, once you are speaking in the scenario, in the what we call is the university sort of a wall, it is academic. It is a more kind of acceptable than if you are really working hard to have kind of a Buddhist monk here. You are trying to have that this is a Buddhist center. I think that it doesn't work. The time has changed. This is the 21st century. Don't be a religious fanatic. We have to become together. Religious is a personal thing. Actually, the word religion, dharma, in Urdu or in Sanskrit or in Hindi, or the word, sasana in Pali or whatever. Dharma just means uphold. You see, from dra is a dharati, same word, means that just means uphold. How can we uphold a humanity? The sasana means that it is something which can cleanse your mind from all mental defilements. That is what we call a sasana or dharma in religion, in Pali or in Sanskrit. It doesn't mean that you have to hold on to some person, hold on to some statue and so. Actually, I would say that the Pakistani are the people who taught me to worship the Buddha image, the icon. Because in the text, Buddha never says that I worship him. But with your ancestors' background, listening to the Buddha's life history, listening to the Buddha's idea, so you are so inspired to carve out of all this stone and beautiful Buddha images. And suddenly, we forget our master's teacher, and we suddenly kind of got back to the whole idea of we love Buddha. In fact, Buddha, again, is that awakening. So I would say that it's time for all of us to awaken. This is a seed of knowledge where the civilization is earlier than Silk Road. I have one research which I proved that all these Asians has connected through the Uttarapada. That is an Asian highway, the Northern Highway, which was early to the time of the Buddha, early to the Silk Road, which connect all of us in Asia by the language, by the food, by the Hollywood, Bollywood, whatever you want to call it. All those things is a soft power, you see. So how can we awaken? How can we become a Buddha of awakening of the soft power and exercise that soft power to all over the world? And then I will say that you are a true Pakistani. Thank you.
Thank you, MV. I would say we become a Buddha and we have awakened already. And we have started the cultural diplomacy, the soft image. That's why we are sitting here together. And I agree with most of your point, but I may not agree with some of your point. Right. Yeah. So, for example, we are talking about Gandhara, that we are promoting Buddhism. And it's not, Gandhara is not Buddhism. It's Gandhara. Buddhism. Yeah, Gandhara is just part of, Buddhism is just part of Gandhara. We, as I explained in the beginning, that we have 6 to 7 ancient religions and cultures. This is a melting pot of cultures, civilization. So we are celebrating Gandhara as a center of multicultural activities, not just Buddhism. And we are not promoting Buddhism. We are not spreading Buddhism here. And this is, and apart from that, we are very much proud custodian of our cultural heritage, Gandharan heritage. It's not about Buddhism. It's not about, if you go to our museums and archaeological sites, you discuss about the concept of religious harmony. We should start on religious harmony. But I want just to share my personal research that the concept of religious harmony emerged from this part of the world, from Pakistan 2000 years ago. It was never before in Europe or America or anywhere, the country from you are coming. Mm-hmm. If you go to Peshawar Museum, in one panel, you see 5 to 6 different gods in one panel, which means they were acceptable for each other. They were respecting each other's ideas. So this religious harmony concept was emerged from this part of the world and spread to the rest of the world. So thank you very much. And these were some of my points.